All right, so we got to get into a couple other things here.
Okay.
What do you want to do first? An unsigned quarterback or a quarterback under controversy?
Let's go quarterback under controversy.
Deshaun Watson. Okay? Deshaun Watson is in camp, and the NFL has said that there are no restrictions on Deshaun while they're doing their investigation. There's 22 women that have come forth, and I think a couple of them now are filing a complaint with police, not just a civil thing. So there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit going on there. But this is Nick Caserio's quote. 𝗦𝗢𝗏𝗡𝗏 put this out on Twitter today about Deshaun Watson. Apparently the Texans are now open to trading him. But here's the quote. We've had conversations. I'm not going to get into the nature of these conversations. Again, he's here. He's been in meetings. He went through the conditioning test. So we're going to take it one day at a time and do what we feel is best on a day-to-day basis. That's insane. Like, I get your sort of, and I appreciate Nick Caserio. And by the way, I appreciate the Texans for finally realizing a GM is a good thing. They went through 2 seasons without one, and you saw the ridiculous trades they made and how they lost all kinds of leverage. But when your Deshaun Watson stated plan is, today's Wednesday, tomorrow it may change. Like, no. Like, you got to have a plan, man. Like, a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
Like, I feel worse about him today. Screw him. Friday, I feel a little bit better about him. Not screw him. I mean, that seems really bad.
Well, I think this is the point, and this happens all the time. And I've talked to a lot of coaches about it, and it drives them crazy about the NFL because the NFL essentially washes their hands and says, "That's on you. Yeah. You go figure it out," right? And so they put it back on the team. So they're going to let the legal course kind of play itself out, and they're going to see what happens, right? And then they're going to wait to essentially assess, guilt or assess a penalty, so to speak. And so I think the Texans were waiting around without a real plan, thinking the NFL was going to put them on the commissioner's exempt list. The NFL was like, we really don't want to deal with this right now. We don't want any repercussions. So you guys deal with it. You guys handle it. And Nick Caserio and the Texans have made it clear they're trying to trade him right now. And, what's the value of Deshaun Watson with all this stuff? He doesn't have his day in court until February. What's the value of Deshaun Watson on the open market right now? There is none. Right.
Yeah, no one is trading for Deshaun Watson for the 2021 season until they know what they will be getting.
Right. How many games will he? I mean, listen, he's such a talented player, and the legal issues notwithstanding, somebody will trade for him, and they'll take the PR hit or whatever, and they'll say, "Hey, listen, I get it." And as soon as he starts throwing touchdowns, all will be forgiven, right? So they'll deal with that, but they're not doing that until they know what the deal is. Right. They know like Antonio Brown last year couldn't get signed, and Antonio Brown complained in the National Football League. At least establish what my penalty is so people know how long I'm going to be out. Right.
Right. Yep.
And so I know it drives coaches crazy because they'd like to know, hey, what's the penalty? But until this thing goes through a court of law, you mentioned a couple of cases of where actual complaints were filed, right? Well, then it comes down to the DA. Is there enough here to file charges, right? So they're going to get the complaints. Will they file criminal charges? Because he's got 22 counts of, what do you call it? Civil charges against him.
Correct.
Right? And so, this is Pandora's box, and the NFL just said, hey, we're not going to deal with it right now. We're going to let the legal system play out. Well, you can't trade the guy. That's what they're trying to do. And if I'm the Houston Texans, you can't practice him. You can't allow him to get hurt.
Right, because then you're risking, whatever we're going to get for him is on the table if he gets injured.
Right. So,
by the way, let's be clear about a couple of things here. Real quickly, I want to clear one thing up. Rick Dennison, your former coach, he didn't leave the Vikings. He's been reassigned to a lower position because was he the offensive coordinator, offensive line coach? Is that what it was?
He was an assistant head coach, O-line coach.
Which means he was in tier 1, which means, and those guys have to be vaccinated. So he's basically taken a demotion and less money, for lack of a better term. But he's still with the Vikings. He's just not in the tier 1 category where he would have to have the vaccine.
Okay, so I didn't realize that because one of the coaches texted me and said Rico just got fired because he won't take the vaccine. So that was straight from one of their coaches, and obviously they didn't understand, like I didn't understand exactly what was going on. But still, reassigned, lesser money. I mean, he's assistant head coach /
he's been downgraded.
Coach. Yeah,
he's been downgraded. And by the way, I just want to clear that. But going back to Deshaun Watson, it is something, right, that there could be 20 plus allegations of sexual assault against him, and he's still allowed to participate. I mean, you could make that argument,
right?
But again, until proven, let's let it play out. I'm not a lawyer. I don't want to pretend to be a lawyer, but it's a bad look. And for me, the thing turned on Deshaun, where other former players started saying, well, why is he getting massages from Instagram models? Right? Like your body is your temple, right? That's how you survive in the NFL.
Correct.
And once you find someone that works well with your body and gets you to feeling 100%, you don't hire 20 other people to do that. You stick with one person.
My guy, when I play for the Broncos, his name's Steve. He's about 6'2" and 320. And he beats the living snot out of you, right? I still use him to this day, 20 years after my retirement, so that's how loyal guys are when they find a masseuse that is good, that understands their body and understands. And the other thing is every organization now, and it started when I was, it started in the mid to late 90s, every organization employs several masseuses. So you don't even have to pay for them, Trey. Like you just sign up and you get your hour here, whatever, a couple times a week. Same with chiropractors. And so, the Instagram quote unquote thing is shady at best. Yeah.
So, okay. So that's that situation. Again, I love the idea. Well, tomorrow we'll figure out what our plan is for tomorrow. How about just saying, he's here, and until he's not here, he's here. That's all you have to say. Right. Like on a day-to-day basis, seems like there's the oddest answer to give.